Hello and welcome to Simplified Organization, a show for busy moms who are looking for practical help in managing their homes, families, and lives for God's glory. We keep it real without complaining, and we help women overcome overwhelm and perfectionism that comes from comparing our lives with others. I'm your host, Mystie Winkler. I write and podcast at simplyconvivial.com about homemaking, homeschooling, and doing life cheerfully. I'm also the author of The Convivial Homeschool, Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids. And today I am joined by my friend, Pam Barnhill. This is part 2 of my conversation with Pam, and she gives us a great planning tip in this episode that's applicable to homeschooling and housework and any other kind of project work that you might have going on in your life. So let's dig in. All right. So last time we talked about our mindset and attitude around not sticking with our plan and how that is actually okay. But do you have any tips for planning for moms? I know you are full of tips. So do you have one that you will share today?
Okay, so one that I will share today. So one of the things that I have found that really helps me is when I group work together. So I take I figure out what is the bare bones that has to be done for me to have a good week. And so, when I think about my homeschool or my household or even my business, what are the things that if I got these things done, and then the next week went off the rails, I would be okay with coasting through that week, maybe not getting a whole lot done, right? But, I could coast through the week and survive because I got this body of work done. In homeschooling, we call it a minimum viable day. Yes. Right? What's our minimum amount of homeschooling that we can do and still feel good about having completed homeschooling? In my business, I call it my work of the week. So I group it, what is this amount of work that I can do and get done? And if things go off the rails the next week, it's okay. I don't have to keep up with it. And so I have a little list that I call my work of the week list. I actually keep it in the notes app on my phone. And every Friday afternoon, I sit down and do my work of the week. And so that's the thing that gets me prepared for the following week. So if I hit a Monday morning, and let's say, God forbid, somebody was to get really sick and I just couldn't do anything for days except take care of a sick kid, it would be okay. My business would keep running because I had gotten that work of the week done. I wouldn't get any projects work done. It would be okay, but I got it done. I did the same thing for homeschool. I have a homeschool work of the week. What is the minimum amount I need to prepare so that next week the homeschooling can get done? So it's printing my daily checklist for my kids, checking the science experiment book to make sure that I don't need to pick up any supplies, those kinds of things, and make sure I have the books that we're supposed to be starting reading in the morning basket and those kinds of things. I have a work of the month as well. And then I have a household work of the week. And that includes things making sure all the mail's been gone through, checking, paying the bills, checking the budget, those kinds of things. And so I have all these little different lists, all these little different times that I do these lists, all these little places in the week that these things go. But if I do those things, life just continues to run, even if something crazy happens.
Yeah, like those maintenance things. And having it written down as a list that then you can just work through actually saves not only time, it saves that decision fatigue and the just mentally rehearsing, now what do I need to homeschool, what, and having that list to just go through and tick it off gives that peace of mind.
And check it off. And it's kind of like a morning basket in that when you put there, these are a lot of little nitnoy kinds of things, like making a menu for the week, making, grocery orders are the best thing in the world. I don't go to the grocery store anymore, but I do have to place the grocery order. And so by grouping all of them together, it would be much more frenzied and frantic if I were trying to find a little spot on Wednesday to do this and find a little spot on Thursday to do this. And, but by grouping it all together, it gives it weight. And I say, okay, this next hour and a half, I'm going to spend working through my household work of the week. And so the menus are planned, the groceries are bought, the bills are paid, the budget's updated, my computer's been restarted, just those little things that, I restarted my phone, all of that stuff. So bam, I'm ready to hit the next week going. But by grouping it together, I really do think it actually gets done more.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that way of thinking about it, giving it weight. Like, yeah, it makes it feel significant and important, because a lot of times you think about those things and it's like, well, I could do that anytime. Yeah. And so you end up doing it no time.
Yeah. How many times have I said, oh, you know what? I'll be sitting on the couch tonight with my phone. I can just like enter in the grocery order then. And I'm sorry, but when I get to 8:00 on the couch with my phone, the last thing I want to do is put the grocery order in. So,
or be in that frame of mind to put the right things on that grocery order.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that is a great tip. And the minimum viable homeschool day, I hear from moms all the time, and I use it myself as well. It is that peace of mind, because we often go through our day, whether it's the housework, but especially the homeschool stuff, and think we always are focusing on what we didn't get done. But the minimum viable day helps us focus on what matters most and do that and count it. Just let it count, call it good, and, figure out where to work in other things. But if the minimum viable homeschool day happened, you homeschooled, check it off, count it.
I think the one of the best things about that one is the fact that you have predetermined out of this, a lot of times when we use a minimum viable day, it's because there's an emotional response going on, or there's something disrupting our lives. And we're probably going to be feeling emotional about like, oh, we're just not going to get to all the school today. So there's all these emotions tied up in the things that are going on in the minute. But what you've done with the minimum viable day is you have predetermined the least amount of school that you can do that makes you feel good about having done school. So you've eliminated all the emotion, all the guilt out of the equation. There should be no guilt there over doing a minimum viable day, because you've already established, if I do this much, there is no guilt that needs to be involved, right? Yes. And so it kind of removes the decision-making from the emotion, which I think makes for a healthier, happier mom. And it probably helps with those relationships as well.
For sure. For sure it does, because making those decisions on the fly stresses us out. And we don't usually parent very well when we're stressed out.
No, not at all.
So Pam has all kinds of homeschool planning help, including a free homeschool planner, which is super helpful. I use Pam's planning forms every year to plan out my own homeschool. And you can find some of those forms at freehomeschoolplanner.com. And the link is in the description below. So you can find help for making your own minimum viable day and getting your homeschool year rolling at freehomeschoolplanner.com. So thank you so much, Pam, for joining me today.